Namaskar, everyone. Every morning, we wake up to a new day. Hopefully. And if we don't on this plane, we might wake up on another plane of consciousness. The Christ said, in my Father's house there are many mansions. And in yogic wisdom, we learn that there are different lokas, planes of cosmic existence. We wake up to what is called the waking state, where physical senses are active: seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing. Body is active. When you are sleeping and you dream, you're having an experience in consciousness. It's called a dream state. Swapna. Waking state is called Jagrat. In both these states, the mind is active. Your consciousness is active in the dreams and active in the waking state. What's the difference? One is in the subtle world. That activity is in the subtle world. The body is asleep. But the body is influenced by what's happening in the dream. There may be tears in the eyes. There may be increased heartbeat in the body. The body is intimately connected to the subtle body, the physical body. So we wake up to a physical world. That's a physical waking up, Jagrat. When we go to sleep, in that experience of consciousness, when we are dreaming, our inner senses are active. So the senses, they have a gross component, the gross sense organs and experience, and then we have subtle senses on the inside. We can still smell in the dream. We're smelling. How do we smell? Because there's a subtle sense of smell, a subtle sense of taste. We're still tasting in the dream. We're still hearing in the dream. We're still seeing in the dream. So though we have physical senses in the human body, the sense organs, these are driven by subtle senses in the inner world. And you experience them in your dreams. Dreams are not necessarily a figment of your imagination. In dreams, you're reliving experiences and you are still creating and exploring. And you can go into deeper memory in the dreams. Or you can have visitations in the dream of other souls. So dream is a very interesting experience of another state of consciousness. But I want to contrast waking up in the body to waking up in our subtle body, that same body that we experience in dreams. How do we wake up to have that dream experience whilst waking? That we are in the subtle body whilst waking. That we are not only seeing with sense organs, we are seeing with powers of the subtle body. We may call it the clairvoyant experience. Where we can see auras and we can see things. We are operating in extrasensory perception. So when we wake up to the subtle body, it's an amazing experience. We experience what we call chakras, energy centers. We experience the senses differently. And that subtle experience of being can grow. And each time we are having a deeper experience, your center of seeing changes. Because on one hand, when you identify with the body, you're seeing in a way that's identified with the sense organs. You think that your seeing is only about sense organs. The nose or the eyes or the skin. But when you wake up to the subtle world, even whilst waking and operating through the sense organs, you can feel your subtle senses at work. You're seeing more. You're seeing the auras of plants. You're seeing the auras of people. You're sensing this. You're sensing the thoughts, which is in the subtle world. You're sensing their emotions. And some of us are so gifted we can even tell where the issues are in the other person. Medical intuitives, for example. So more and more souls are waking up to this subtle consciousness, the subtle senses. But the waking up is not the important thing. The management of it, the management of the subtle world, the management of those senses, the management of the mind, the management of emotions, the management of desires, intentions. The management is required. How do we growing management of the senses, the subtle senses and the gross? And that's why we have the practice of yoga, meditation, qigong, tai chi, because they're all about the subtle. The subtle energy fields of chi or prana. So don't think that when you wake up to a new day, that's the only waking up there is. There's waking up to the subtle world. And it's a more beautiful world than this one. But don't think that the subtle world is all a bed of roses. Because the subtle world has also dark planes. They're called patal, dark planes of consciousness. Because where all these dark and demonic and evil thinking souls go, they cannot go to the heavenly realms. When they leave the body, they go to these other realms, these patals. And those of us who have been really working sadhana and growing in consciousness, when we leave the body, we go to higher worlds. And if you didn't really wake up to the subtle world, if you didn't have the consciousness of the subtle, then you come back to a plane that is very much close to the earth. It's called the Bhuvaloka. And that corresponds to the sacral center. It's a loka associated with the sacral center. You're caught up in family, you're caught up in progeny, you're caught up in your senses wanted to come back into an earth body for the pleasures of the sacral. You want to come back. Sacral is not just about sexuality, it's also about taste. So how do we grow in consciousness? That's why we are taking a body, physical body. We didn't take up a physical body to flaunt it. Pleasure-seeking, power-seeking, territorial, beastly instinct, primal instinct. So we have a brain that can manifest primal instincts as well as the most lofty instincts of the soul. And when you come into the body, don't be ashamed of these primal instincts because they are of the body. And they are of the soul's lower nature. And they are meant to be experienced so that you can grow in consciousness and you can choose differently. Because life is based on choice. You go where you want to go. We have the freedom of choice, free will. You can go wherever you want to go. You are determining who you are and what the world is. All your memories are determined by you from your actions. What you are now is determined by what you have done before. The patterns of thinking and feeling and desiring, those are patterns that you have created. Sometimes you want to blame the people around you, but they arouse it in you. But you could stay around anybody if you are free of it on the inside. And see how impulsive some of us can be. We react to anger. We react to food with pleasure senses. But when we are more centered in a deeper part of the consciousness, when we have gone beyond the loka, the earth plane and its impulses, the primal instincts, and the bhuva, the one of progeny and family and earthbound nature, however nice that might be, it's still bound to a lower chakra, bhuva. And as we work through this plane, and as we grow in consciousness, then we'll be more deserving of the other chakras. And that's the reason for sadhana. You have taken up a body, a physical body, and a subtle body. Both are body, they're called sharir. This one is called stula sharir, it's the gross body. Sharir means that which withers away. That which ultimately deteriorates and disappears. Whether it's the subtle one or whether it's the gross one. And all these planes are planes of maya, planes of illusion, are planes of elusive energy, prana. They're not your essential reality. But control over the senses is required. How do you control your mind, which is on the subtle level? How do you control your emotions on the subtle level? How do you control their manifestations in the gross body? So the whole idea is seeing it. So you have to wake up to different levels of seeing, perception. That's not easy in a world like this. You look outside, everybody is into everything that is pleasurable and lustful and with greed and power seeking. Everybody, practically. The real deeper souls are rare. Look at this temple. These are souls seeking deeper wisdom, deeper levels of awareness, and seeking to grow. Now soon there will be carnival in Trinidad, and you see a whole different congregation. Having fun, they think. Hopefully it will be safe. And you contrast that, the multitude is there. And you look in the temples, the regal sacred temples where sadhana or tapasya is being done, it's different. So you have the power of choice, and you want to wake up to the deeper levels of awareness and perception. You want to wake up to the deeper levels. So in the meditation, I try to create the field or initiate the field where we can go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper inside, as much as our karmas will take us. That is the goal of having this human body. This human body allows us to work through the karmas and to unfold in the consciousness. The whole goal is to grow in consciousness until we are centered in a field of infinite consciousness, where we can see the body clearly, we can see the gross body clearly, we can see the subtle body clearly, and we can see the content of all. So if you have to make any wish for anything as a truth seeker, you want to make the wish of the Gayatri mantra. Om Bhur Swa. That covers all the planes. The Swa means the celestial planes, from the navel upwards. It says, that Savitur Varenyam, that light that comes from the transcendental plane, that's Savitur, like the sun. Varenyam, worshipable. Bhargo, sin cleansing. Devasya, illuminating. Dhimahi, I meditate. And it says, please let that light, that inner transcendent light, let it light up my intellect so I can see differently. Dhiyo yona prachodayat. Hindus wake up till morning, praying to the sun with this prayer, but they may think that the sun is the light, a lot of them, but the truth is, it speaks to the light of the inner world. That is like the sun. Om Bhurvaswa. That Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. It speaks to the inner light. I center in the inner light. That's what it says. And please illumine my thinking faculty, my mental faculties. Illumine them that they can operate in the light, Sattva. That's why we chant the Gayatri. How can you not be a seeker? How can you not see the play of this world to hold us in the Maya? It's a play. Why it's a play? Because no matter what we do, no matter how much transgressions we may seem to make, our purity is untouched. Our essence is untouched. So we need to get deeper and deeper in the consciousness so we can stay in our essence, and then we'll see the beauty of the play. Then we'll see how the divine sees the play. Until then, we can't. We may have many ideas, and you see the internet is full of all these ideas of people, everyone speaking their truth and thinking it is the truth. And there's 6 blind men trying to figure out what the elephant is. Each one is holding a different part of the elephant and saying, this is it. But the person who is not blind is saying, no, that's not it. Let's not be like that. Let's not see through a limited lens, through limited perception. Let's expand the range. Let's expand the seeing. And that is what you get when you come here. So I congratulate all those of you who are in the satsang this morning. You are making another step in the growth of consciousness and ultimate freedom. It's a new year. Let's begin this year in that awareness of waking up to our true self and to realize that our senses are not just the physical sense organs and the physical experience of the senses. It's driven by a subtle field of senses. Let's wake up to experience the subtle seeing and grow in that consciousness, deepening the center until we can see the whole panoramic view of existence, gross and subtle, and know it's all a play of Maya, an energy play in the consciousness. Is it meaningful? Is it logical? That's how I felt when I was 20. I need to wake up. I need to wake up from this crazy dream. And I did. I did. And so can you. So let's have an amazing Sunday, everyone. It's the 15th day after January. A new calendar year begins. As you work with the calendar year, let's try to grow with each day, each week, each month. Let's strive to achieve the purpose for which we came into this birth, this physical body. Have a blessed day, everyone. Namaskar.